Hello and welcome to Design Heaven, Design Hell. This is a first episode of a new series that we're putting together to tell you what's great or not great about marketing, design and communications. I'm Tom Hadley.
I'm Simon Cook.
And we are experts in design and communication. Simon from the point of view of graphic design and web creation, and me from the point of view of persuasive brand and marketing ideas. Together, we're pretty good judges of the good and bad of business promotion. Each week, we choose a brand to review. It's all done with love. We're not here to tear anyone down, but improving brands and how they market themselves is what we do. Hey, Simon, how's it going? How's your week been thus far? Here we are in January 2025. How's life?
I know. I'm fine, thanks, Tom. Christmas seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? Back into the swing of things in January.
Right. Well, let's see what good stuff we've got for people. So this week, we are, for our first episode, we are looking at a brand called Founder Catalyst. And here they are. Now, first thing, just a quick thing to say, I do know this brand. Sam Simpson, one of the co-founders, is somebody who I've met through networking and who really impressed me with what this brand does. But I thought it would be an interesting one to start with because I think there's some really interesting things about this brand that people can learn from. So, should we get into it? Let me just very quickly explain for anybody who hasn't come across Founder Catalyst that basically Founder Catalyst is a legal platform, if you like, that helps startups, founders, and their investors and their advisors to create all of the legal paperwork and manage investor engagement. So it's kind of an interesting one. It's one of these things, it's really about compliance. It's about getting you to a fixed point in your founder journey. And that makes it, on the one hand, that makes it a relatively easy thing to talk about and promote because it's quite fixed. And I think that's probably where, if it's all right, Simon, that's kind of where I'd like to start.
Yes, yeah.
Just from a content point of view, and then we'll come to you to talk about some of the kind of visual stuff. But the up here, if I just show people what I'm talking about. So there's this intro line here that says the Founder Catalyst platform quickly and professionally creates all of the legal paperwork and helps manage investor engagement. So that's great. That's a really nice, right, here's what it is. But here's my question. It says all of the legal paperwork. So the question is, so what does that entail? Mm-hmm. And a small problem is that answer is in the site, but it's a little bit hidden. And I had to do some digging to go find it. So if I show you real quick, up here in the services part of the site, there's 4 subpages for founders, investors, lawyers, and other and funding groups. And the weird thing is that when I click on one of these, I'll show you. When I click on one of these and scroll down, and I have to scroll a bit of the way down the page to get it, there's this section here called What Documents Are Produced, which is the absolute key content for my burning question of, okay, what does this paperwork mean? But it's on an internal page, on a second tier page. It's quite a long way down the page. And weirdly, if I go to the founders page, it's not there.
Okay.
So I originally went looking for it on the founders page and I couldn't find it. So my first suggestion for this site is there's some key content that should be signposted off this homepage. Because that, once I get my head around that, then all of the other good things that there are, which is the fact that there's a fixed price and it's quite easy to value. If I just know what you mean by all the legal paperwork, then I can really quickly, value this offer. So that's my first little thing that I found. What about from your point, Simon? Let's talk about the design, the brand. What jumped out to you?
Yeah, so I mean, first thing to say is obviously I'm not as familiar with it as you are, Tom, but I really love the name. I love the name. I love the logo. I think it's just cool. I think it's quite cute, actually. I think it's really, it's sort of that alchemy, isn't it? That sort of, that kind of that idea of the science behind it. Um, I don't mind the color scheme, the sort of the mid blue, the sort of lighter blue there. I think that's quite nice, quite friendly. A bit of a, sort of a tint in the background. What I would probably say is I think it's just lacking a little warmth at the moment, just in the color palette. I think maybe if they could consider bringing in an orange, a purple, or something like that, just to bring a bit of warmth into it, maybe on the calls to action buttons or something like that. I
Yeah, I
think that
suppose
might.
it's one of those
Sorry.
things. You're going to talk about trust.
Yeah,
There's a certain warmth and sort of a collaboration that's inherent
exactly.
in that.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely. I think that's it. I think it's just a little cool, isn't it, at the moment, and maybe just that hint of a bit of warmth in there, just reinforces the trust and would just lift it up a little bit more. I think.
Yeah, no, that's an absolutely fair point. So other things that I had on my list, let's have a look. Was about, so as well as these key documents, one of the things I really like about the site, if I just scroll down the homepage a little bit, is this site makes great use of testimonials. There's a big panel here on the homepage where testimonials come in quite early on. And things I like about that are, and this is one of my absolute bugbears about most sites, is look, there are named people,
real people,
real businesses, and and so many people shy away from that, and their testimonials are like a marketing manager in the so-and-so industry, and you go, well, who is that? Is that even really real? So exactly. the sense that I get of, oh, look, these actual businesses are the actual customers is awesome. And there's also, so there's literally, you kind of see these sort of first four, there's two more sort of coming in at the bottom. And then there's a show more, which if I click it just to show you, then opens up a kind of almost like an infinite scroll.
Yes.
And you go, oh my God, there's loads and loads and loads and loads. Which, okay, on the one hand, you can go, I'm not reading this many testimonials, but it still does a nice job of quantifying it, of making it seem very impressive. Yeah. The only thing I will say, and this goes to your sort of area on UX and design, is the one thing is this is a really, really long list, and there's no way of closing this panel once you've opened it. So I keep going and I keep going, and eventually I get to the footer of the site. But if I'm like, oh, now I can't really use the page anymore. And so what I've actually got to do is I actually have to reload the page to get it to go back to the initial state. There's a show more button, but there isn't a show less button.
You can't close it up again like an accordion.
So no. I'd love a show less button, please. That would be amazing. But actually, the interesting thing about it is that one of the things with compliance is, although this brand is getting people to a fixed point, which is quite easily understandable.
Yeah.
The next question that people will have is, okay, two things. How fast do I get to this fixed point? And how much pain is involved? Sure. Now, a lot of the testimonials actually do a really good job, especially talking about SEIS and EIS and the role that Founder Catalyst plays in dealing with HMRC, which is a key bugbear of people, is how long it takes to deal with HMRC. So you've got some of this stuff in the testimonials where it says, we got a positive response from HMRC in 25 hours, and things like that. So there's some statage.
Yeah.
But the statage is kind of hidden inside these testimonials. You have to go and read a few to get it. So again, I think there's an opportunity here to perhaps do some math, do some quantifying of it, and go, what is perhaps like the average amount of time? And then that could be something that comes in up here going, on average, we get your SEIS, your initial acceptance from HMRC in an average of 32 hours or whatever. And that would be a huge, like, absolutely. That's what I want. That's what I want to pay for. So I think there's, as much as I love the testimonials, I think there's actually some brand promise stuff that's actually getting hidden in testimonials that the brand actually needs to bring out up front.
I also wonder if with those testimonials, I mean, I don't know if they've done this. This might be a plan for the future. If some of those testimonials could be, talking heads to a video, maybe kind of explaining in a bit more depth about, how Founder Catalyst has helped them, because they're great to read. But as you say, it kind of feels that you can make so much more of those, couldn't you, Tom?
Yeah, definitely. What else did you come up with on the visual side?
Yeah, so I do like the footer. I know that's not like probably the most exciting thing, and some people might turn off at this point, but I do like a sort of a footer that's darker in colour than the sort of sides above it. I just think it gives it a foundation. It gives it a real solid sort of it's just a solid, as I say, a foundation.
It's one of these weird things about a website, isn't it? There's certain bits of a website that give you a sort of sense of, this is proper. And a good footer is an underrated element of a website because it's on every page.
Yeah.
So it's always there. And you're right. When you get to it, you kind of go, okay, that just feels like there's sort of the right information to put together. And some people really waste their footers. So no, I'm glad you brought. That
I'd also like the way the brand is. Obviously, they've just used it in a single color there, but I do like it that way as well. I know it's a small point, but actually, if that was reverse, it was a white footer with blue writing on it and blue logo. I don't think it would look quite as nice because it bleeds off the lighter blue. I don't know. It's a small point, but one that I sort of felt was worth making.
Absolutely. I think that's the thing. I think it is these things where we get that whatever that reinforcing sense of, and you know what, this is what good looks like. This is what feels best about the site is a really important thing. So I'm absolutely glad you raised it. On that note, on things that feel really satisfying from a content point of view, and this is such a huge one, is my last one is pricing.
Okay.
Because in B2B services, we can be very bad at talking about pricing.
True. Yeah.
Now, of course, this site and this brand is helped by the fact that it is a fixed price service. And so literally the fixed price of £1,495 is right here, early doors. That's great. And I know not everybody can do that because for some people it's more of a calc. However, what I would like to bear in mind is just to jump off the homepage a sec is the pricing page of this site is really good.
Okay.
Because there's some interactivity to it. So how much do you want to raise is the first question. And there's a slider here, which when I move it, actually it changes the numbers down here in the table. Right, so I don't know if you can just see as I do that, this so that's a really satisfying thing that makes me go, oh, okay, I've got some agency over, how I value this. That's amazing. And then secondly, they have not shied away, as they absolutely should not, of going, if not at us, you're going to a typical law firm, or there is online. There is another platform that does what they do, but they've just not shied away from making a direct comparison. Going, for us, you're going to pay this or this, and here's us. And they've made that in that classic kind of SaaS way of the table. This is the old sort of mini Audi Rolls Royce thing, but it's just really nicely done. And I thought, you know what, actually that's something that's worth flagging up because more people should be putting more thought into particularly this kind of content, because this is the clincher page. This is where I kind of decide, this is that moment of, oh, come on, this is a no-brainer. Of course I'm going to use these guys. Between testimonials and the pricing page, that is 90% of that decision to buy. So I love the fact they've put some thought into this page and just done more than the basics.
Yeah, really. I think what it also does, Tom, is it reinforces their credibility, authenticity. It's kind of transparent, isn't it? And which again goes back into the whole trust element, Rich.
Well, it's something that actually, I mean, you talked about kind of more humans in this, but the funny thing about this is that because I know Sam Simpson, he's got a great kind of I think he's got a great attitude of being very confident about the platform and what it does, and not being needy, and not kind of going, oh, please use this because thing. He's like, do you know what? I've been doing this a long time. I know exactly what I'm doing. You know, and it's that whole kind of. I think it's important because this is the sort of product where the product stands on its own 2 feet. It does
Okay.
what it does. It's a fixed price, and almost like they don't want to encourage people to sort of like have a million questions and
No.
I'm going to need to talk to a lot of people, because it's kind of it is a somewhat on rails process. So actually, the fact that you get a sense of that, all the information's here. I've got to do my bit, and bang, there we get the outcome. That's actually important to the profitability of the business.
Of course, yeah.
So setting up that sensibility is not a dumb thing to do.
No, absolutely. The only thing I would say then, maybe just sort of leading on from that, my last point really was, if you maybe could go back to the homepage, was just the overuse of these sort of, I guess it's a sort of illustrative style that I've seen
this stuff
too many. Yeah, exactly. That's it, Tom. Brilliant. Yeah, just seen it too many times, and it's it's nice. It's done in the Founder Catalyst colours, but I don't know. I just it bores me, to be honest. It's a real shame. Maybe something bespoke would have been nice. And then they use it in the 1 minute video as well, I believe, which is again, I just think maybe a missed opportunity. I'd love to hear from the founder. He sounds a really clued up, savvy guy. It just feels like, we could have actually had some real people there. Could have had the people behind the business talking in the video. I don't know. Again, it's just a bugbear,
Yeah.
You see it a lot.
If I was going to be mean, I'd say, hey, 2015 called, they'd like their icons back.
Exactly that, yes.
But that's fine. I mean, that's just one of those things where you go, I mean, I can't remember exactly when Founder Catalyst started, but it probably just literally is the case that's just, that's the graphic style that was cool today. But it's the reminder to all of us, we need to move with the times.
Yeah.
And keep investing in updating some of this stuff, because as much as I think clients sometimes look at this stuff and they go, oh, well, of course, those designery people are going to obsess about this because that's what they do all day long. But actually, all of us, we all spend a lot of time on the internet, and we all have a better sensibility of what is new and feels modern.
Exactly.
And so I think clients need to understand that tired old sort of style, whether it's icons or graphics or whatever else, people do just pick up on that stuff. They don't necessarily think about it like we do, but they will just get a sense of, okay, this is a thing like the thing I've seen a million times. And it just puts you into a slightly jaded mindset.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, and this isn't necessarily fair, but you might even have a feeling of, oh, well, maybe they're not quite as progressive as they actually are as a business, for example.
Yes, I think that's, there's a certain, just a sort of surreptitious sensibility that moves in there when you if things do fall behind the times a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've been pretty fair about that. I think there's a lot to like, but it just goes to show, no matter how good a brand you are, there is always room for improvement. So, what are we saying, Simon? Are we saying design heaven or design hell for this one?
Yeah, I think it's more towards the heaven. Definitely not hell. I think with a few improvements that we've just discussed, I think it definitely is. It's definitely going upwards rather than downwards. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great stuff. Thank you ever so much for your thoughts on all of that. And just to for the benefit of everybody, if you've enjoyed this, we hope this has been useful. I hope this has been inspirational. I hope this has given you some ideas about the sorts of things that you can do with your brand, whether it's your website, your marketing materials, your campaigns, all of that stuff. If you need us, Simon and I are here to help. That's what we do. If you need creative direction and visual graphic design inspiration, or indeed a new website built from scratch, Simon is your guy. That's what he does. So Dual Digital for Simon. Or if you just want content ideas, brand stuff, just generally being more persuasive, then you can talk to me. Exodus 25 is my brand. And hopefully we will bring you a new episode soon with more exciting ideas and bits of inspiration for making everywhere design heaven rather than design hell. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Great stuff. Thank you. Cheers.